Running back injury updates and, quote, all those crappy flexes, according to Heath Cummings, right now on Fantasy Football Today in 5. Good morning, everybody. Let's get those Week 12 lineups set. Heath, a lot of crappy flexes this week.
There's a lot of crappy flexes, a lot of names in the flex rankings portion that you're like, man, I don't want to start that name. Probably led by Dontrell Hilliard.
Yes. All right, we'll talk about the Tennessee Titans in a little bit. Aaron Jones, Eli Mitchell, they're both at 4 o'clock, so we have to make some tough decisions here. What do we think we're doing with the Packers and 49ers backfields?
I mean, best that we can tell, it sounds like Mitchell's going to play, and Jones is a little bit more closer to actually questionable. Maybe even if you listen to Adam Schefter's tweet, doubtful, because they do get an extra bye week next week. And so we've seen a lot of teams take advantage of that. The Cardinals just did it a week ago. I would be very careful waiting out Aaron Jones unless you had a replacement option that you liked almost as much as the early option. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but if Jones plays, which running back are you going to rank higher?
I'll rank Jones higher, but I'll have Jones at that's the way we've got it ranked that way right now. And I've got Jones around 20th and Dillon around 23rd. So they're really close.
And if Mitchell does not play, would you go back to Wilson this week?
I would have him right behind where I said I currently have Jones and Dillon. Wilson would still. I think even if there's no Mitchell, Wilson's like towards the top of that crappy flex portion of the rankings.
Okay. How about Cordaro Patterson at Jacksonville? Is he going to play today, Doctor?
It sounds as if he's going to. They're going to make sure they see it in warmups, but right now they believe he's going to play. And if he plays, you are starting him.
Okay. Let's see. Kareem Hunt, Sunday night at Baltimore.
Yeah, and I got a good question on Twitter this morning. Are we expecting the full Kareem Hunt, or did Ernest Johnson still get one drive or a couple touches? And we don't really know. I'm projecting about 80% of Kareem Hunt. I've got him right around RB 25, so ahead of the crappy flexes, but behind all the other running backs.
So you'd go with Wilson or Kareem Hunt? Let's say Mitchell were out.
If Mitchell was out, I'd probably still go with Kareem Hunt.
Okay. Let's see. A.J. Brown on IR. What do you think about the entire Tennessee Titans team at New England this week, bye next week?
Not just that team, but that game. I would really like it if I didn't have to start anyone playing in that game. But I do think there's a pretty good opportunity with no Jeremy McNichols also for Dontrell Hilliard. We saw him as the primary pass-catching running back. I don't think they're going to do that to Deante Foreman. And the one thing that teams have had success doing against this Patriots defense is throwing to their running backs. The Patriots have given up the third most receiving yards to running backs, 62 yards per game. So Hilliard is my favorite Titan and actually my favorite player in the game.
Wow. All right. So how about Foreman, though? You know, I'm not getting a ton of questions about Deante Foreman. I wonder if people have soured on him, but
I think they definitely have.
Yeah.
I didn't drop him because I do think that there's a chance that he just gets all of Peterson's touches and all of a sudden he's a 15-touch running back and we're just seeing Hilliard more in the passing game. Even in that instance, I would like Hilliard more this week, just because I don't think you want the guy who's getting 15 carries and not doing much in the passing game against this particular matchup. But I do want, if someone dropped Foreman, he's a good beat the waiver wire stash just to have on your bench, just in case it turns out he's the lead running back for the Titans.
What about Titans running backs versus Jets running backs versus Texans running backs?
The Jets running backs are the ones that I want the least.
Okay.
Because I kind of feel like there's a chance that the Texans just shut down the Jets running game. And I do think Tevin Coleman's going to be the primary rusher for them. I don't know if there's enough running back pass attempts with Zach Wilson back under center for Ty Johnson to be worthwhile. So the Jets are both behind. I would go Dontrell Hilliard and then David Johnson would be my second favorite of that group.
Corey Davis is doubtful for this game at Houston. So with Elijah Moore being the most added wide receiver, being one of the hottest players in fantasy right now, where'd you come out on Elijah Moore and any interest in Jamison Crowder?
This, I feel like, gave me cover with Elijah Moore because I was a little bit worried and I had him in the low-end wide receiver 2 range. And I thought Zach Wilson's coming back. He's been awful with Zach Wilson. But with no Corey Davis there, I'm just assuming that Elijah Moore is going to see 8 to 10 targets and be a borderline number 2 wide receiver. He's a must-start guy for me.
Crowder?
A flex-ish player. I'm not so sure that he's a lot better than Keelan Cole.
Okay. Galladay, Slayton, Ingram.
Galladay is I would like Galladay more than Crowder or Cole or Slayton, but he's still a boom bust number 3 or a boom bust flex. Ingram is a very, very good streaming option, and maybe even more than that, because it's not just that the Eagles are the worst team in the NFL against tight ends, but also he's been freed from Jason Garrett. And if you look at what Evan Ingram was before Jason Garrett got to New York, he was a must-start tight end. I'm hopeful that happens again.
I have to start him as a flex in one league. I'm just like, oh man, but I'm also kind of excited. Eagles are just so bad against tight ends. It's incredible.
Dan Arnold gave us a goose egg last week. This morning, I picked him up to flex him in a league. So
hey,
yes, that's where we're at.
Let's flex tight ends. Thanks for watching and listening, everybody. Good luck in week 12. We'll talk to you tonight about 8:10 p.m. Eastern to recap all of Sunday's actions.